Tonight, a bishop takes on Trump and pleads with him face-to-face to, quote, have mercy. The Episcopal Bishop of Washington pleading with President Trump to show compassion towards undocumented immigrants and the LGBTQ community today. A dramatic moment coming during her sermon at today's National Prayer Service.
Opinions vary.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Opinions Varied. It's Opinions with an A. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we have to go back to Mariann Budde, the woke bishop who lectured President Trump from the lectern the other day. And it's become a big story. And as we can see now, this was clearly a setup. It was a script that the Democrats and the left had on the shelf, and they decided to pull it off. Day 2 of Trump's presidency. Basically, have Trump sit there and get scolded like a child by a woke bishop who was going to preach her political message. She might as well have been AOC dressed up for Halloween. That was basically what that was. That could have been AOC standing on a soapbox on a corner, on a Bronx street corner, basically yelling out the same message. AOC, that's appropriate for her. She's a politician, not for a bishop, not of any denomination, not of any political bent. If a conservative had done the same thing to Barack Obama or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris and started talking about conservative values and basically lecturing to them in a church, I'd be saying the same exact thing. There's no place for it. It's unacceptable. You could watch the video I did on this the other day. It's up top. I'll put it right there. And you could comment on that one. But this time we're going to see the woke bishop, because she's going to go on CNN, as we just saw. We won't watch the rest of that, but we will watch where she went on The View. Like I said, this was right out of the playbook. This was a setup. She's being hailed as a hero. She's not a hero. She's a coward. You ready? Let's go.
There was a national press service yesterday in D.C. led by Bishop Mariann Budde, who made this.
By the way, I apologize about the copyright. Have to do it. The View sometimes block stuff. Sometimes they don't, but I wasn't taking any chances, so I just put the copyright there. Again, I apologize. Hope it's not too distracting. Let's go.
Plea to the newly elected president. Watch.
Mr. President, millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now.
Of what?
There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives.
Why?
And the people who pick our crops.
You can see Lara Trump. She's over Trump's left shoulder. She's ready to jump out of her seat. She was probably the one most visibly and J.D. Vance, but most visibly just annoyed by this.
And clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants.
Look at her face.
Who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals. They may not be citizens or have the proper documentation.
I just have a question. This trope about the people that do those jobs, it's a trope now. It's become a trope that the left gets away with. To me, it's demeaning. It's insulting. Do not other people of all races do those types of jobs and do them very well? It's unbelievable. It's beyond the pale. I think Kelly Osbourne one time, was it on The View or The Talk, one of those shows, and she basically said something along those lines about cleaning her bathroom, about if we deport people, and she got ripped to shreds for it. And you know what? Rightfully so.
Kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying
there's more jobs to be
in LA, they always
but they don't. Are not only the only people
I didn't mean it like that. Come on. No, I would never mean it like that.
Okay.
Like, I'm not part of this argument with.
I think what you're saying is that Trump himself
needs to look
probably relies on a lot of these people that he's insulting.
I think it's demeaning, and it's, to me, it's an R-word trope. But the left just gets away with it freely now, even speaking to the president of the United States from the pulpit. That's how far we've sunk.
But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
Oh, he didn't like that.
And you're going to see her hero's welcome from these lunatics. I haven't seen this. I've seen about 2 seconds of it. I haven't seen past this point. We're going to comment along the way. I'm just going to go on the fly here. Ready?
Trump did not get the message And now he's demanding an apology.
As he should.
So here to respond, please welcome Bishop Mariann Budde. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, listen to the crowd. Heroes welcome for a coward.
So let me ask you this. You seem to have more fearlessness than anyone in Congress right now, ma'am.
Isn't it amazing how much they misread this? This is how lost they are. Most people don't see this as heroic or courageous. This is cowardly. You were speaking to somebody, basically having a personal conversation with the President of the United States where he could not respond to you. I said in my video that I put up top, I'll even put it at the end of the video. I would have walked out. Trump showed more class there and dignity than I ever would have shown. If he would have walked out, everybody else would have followed right behind him and his family. I think he showed great restraint and composure there. This is not heroic. This is not courageous. This is cowardly. This woman, like I said before, has every right to pull the president aside before the service or after the service and have a word with him. He could either tell her thank you very much or tell her to go kick rocks. But that's the way you do it. You want to have a personal conversation with the president, you pull him aside. You don't lecture him in front of a church on national television. And how these people like The View and the rest of the left media think this is a good thing just serves them right, how they're going to keep getting more and more rebuked and just putting themselves into irrelevancy. Hey guys, if you're still watching, I really appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the like button right now. Subscribe. I do one video a day at least. If I don't do one video, it's because of circumstances that were beyond my control and I couldn't get it done. But please like, share, and subscribe and help me grow this channel. I appreciate it. They just don't get it. The TDS has them doing things they just don't see reason.
What made you decide to use that opportunity for this message, or didn't you have any apprehension about it?
You should have. If you didn't.
My response, thank you, first of all, for allowing me to be with you today.
Yeah, allowing me to be with you today. This was a setup. This was scheduled before that before that lecture even happened. This was scheduled. Trust me.
My responsibility that morning, yesterday morning, was to reflect, to pray with the nation for unity. And as
real unifying. You did a great job. More than half the country thinks what you did was disgraceful. Your job is to preach the word of God and to preach the Bible. That's your job. That's your mission. Correct?
I was pondering what are the foundations of unity. I wanted to emphasize respecting the honor and dignity of every human being, basic honesty and humility.
What are you saying that we don't all know already? You want a medal for that?
And then I also realized that that unity requires a certain degree of mercy and compassion and understanding. And so knowing that a lot of people, as I said, in our country right now are really scared.
Scared of what? They keep saying this. They're scared. What are they scared of? What are people scared of? If you did something wrong, maybe you should be a little scared that you're going to get caught and punished, correct? Isn't that a normal human reaction? Not everybody's just walking around, oh my God, scared like this, looking over, Donald Trump's president. What's going to happen? Oh my God. Nobody's doing that. This is nonsense. Nonsense. Nobody's buying this. No normal people are buying this.
I wanted to take the opportunity in the context of that service for unity to say we need to treat everyone with dignity.
Again, she's preaching stuff that everybody, kind of takes for granted. Yes, everybody should be treated with dignity. Who's not being treated with dignity? You know who's not being treated with dignity right now? The 300,000 missing girls that we can't find, or children we can't find from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's open border. That's people that aren't being treated with dignity. The people that are being trafficked, they're not being treated with dignity. The people that were murdered by people that shouldn't have been here in the first place, they weren't treated with dignity. Their families weren't treated with dignity. Stop the nonsense. You are full of crap.
Daddy, chill.
And we need to be merciful. I was trying to counter the narrative that is so divisive and polarizing.
You're making this up. It's a fake narrative. It's a narrative. It's basically saying, I want to counter the narrative that we made up. That's what this is. They made up the narrative. Now they have to counter their own narrative to seem like heroes. It's incredible. Do you see what's happening, everyone? Do you get it yet?
And in which real people are being harmed.
Okay.
Who?
Bishop, I was struck by your tone. You were so gentle. You were so respectful. You were very demure and very mindful.
Yeah, Anna Navarro, fake Republican, fake conservative. It's easy for her to do what she did because she knew there could be no response. She was basically talking to somebody who was muzzled.
And you said all of this with Trump, J.D. Vance, and their families, including Melania, an immigrant.
A legal immigrant.
And Usha Vance, a child of immigrants.
Legal immigrants.
Sitting there.
Right.
And their reactions were very visible for all of us to see. You could see their faces. Were you paying attention to how your message was received by them in that moment? And do you think it sunk in even a little bit?
You know, I've been preaching for a long time, and I've long since given up trying to read people's body language as I'm preaching. Because I would be wrong most of the time. So I don't know. I
You seem to be wrong most of the time with everything.
was aware that obviously people were listening, but I couldn't allow myself in that moment to I just had to keep going, right? I had what I felt was on my heart to say, and I had to leave it to them, to all of us, to take from whatever my words were.
This is not your job. If you want to give a speech like that, ask the Democrat National Convention next time if you could have a slot. All right? And go do it there, which I still don't agree with because you're supposed to be, to me, people in the clergy should not let their political views be known. They just shouldn't. They have every right to do so in their private time. And if they want to, that's on them. But again, ask for a spot at the DNC next time if that's what you want to do. Wrong time, wrong place, read the room.
Hard in whichever way they could and leave, as they say, leave the rest to God.
Bishop, predictably, you seem to strike a nerve. President Trump initially said yesterday it was, quote, not a good service, unquote. But overnight, he took to social media to say you were a, quote, radical left hardline Trump hater, unquote, that you brought the church into politics and that you owe your church and the public an apology. Now, given your role, it doesn't seem surprising that you would speak out for the marginalized, as anyone who's read the Bible and knows the path of.
Let's not get into the Bible. I think your name is Sarah Gain. Let's not get into the Bible. If you really want to dive into the Bible, you wouldn't be speaking to this woman in the role she's in right now. So take a break on that, huh?
Jesus. But do you think your message is being misconstrued and politicized?
Misconstrued and politicized? It's a political statement. It was a political lecture. Like I said, that might as well have been AOC on the corner in the Bronx speaking to her constituents, or even on the floor of Congress debating a bill. That's who that was. That was AOC. That was, what's her face? That was Rashida Tlaib. That was the old Cori Bush now out of Congress. That's Ilhan Omar. Politicized.
Well, sure. Yeah. But I think if you read what I said, and how could it not be politicized, right? We're in a hyper-political climate. One of the things I caution about is the culture of contempt in which we live that immediately rushes to the worst possible.
So you knew what you were doing. Thank you for admitting it.
Interpretations of what people are saying and to put them in categories such as the ones you've just described. That's part of the air we breathe now. And I was trying to speak a truth that I felt needed to be said.
Do it on your own time.
In as respectful and kind a way as I could. And also to bring other voices into the conversation, which voices that had not been heard in the public space for some time.
Really? We hear it every day from people on your side. But here's the thing. This woman, Donald Trump was right. She is an anti-Trump. She has said, and it's on the video, she has said in 2020 when they were protesting outside the White House and almost burned her church down, one of the churches she's the leader of, the one right across the street from the White House, I forget the name right now, she was more upset about Donald Trump than she was about the fact that it almost got burned down. And she said, we need to replace Trump. She said, I've stopped talking to Donald Trump. Right. She stopped talking to him as long as it's one-on-one because, like I said, she's a coward. But in this case, she took this moment and somebody on Trump's team needs to be fired. There's no possible way this woman should have been the one giving this sermon, okay? She took this time to get her time in the spotlight. Like I said, this was planned. This was planned.
And Bishop, given that we live in such a divided time as you've reflected on...
Fake conservative Alyssa Farah Griffin. See, if you were real, you'd be ripping this woman to shreds like I am right now.
And knowing how this message might be received by Trump supporters, I wonder if your words may have had more impact if they were shared one-on-one with the president.
All right, Alyssa Farah Griffin, I'll give you a little bit of a pass here. Good point right there. Thank you. It's the one we've all been making.
And was there an opportunity to have that conversation?
I've never been invited into a...
You had the president of the United States in your church. You could have very easily asked to speak to him one-on-one. She's lying.
One-on-one conversation with President Trump. And I would welcome that opportunity. I have no idea.
Again, here we go. This is where if Alyssa Farah Griffin did her homework, as I said, I haven't seen this yet. Maybe she comes back with something good. I'm going to doubt it though. But this is where you pull out. Yeah, but you said this in the past. You said you've stopped trying to speak to him. You said that he needs to be replaced. You were more upset about Donald Trump than the fact that your church will almost burn down. That's where you pull this out on her. But I can't see that happening. Let's see what happens.
How that would go. I can assure him and everyone listening that I would be as respectful as I would with any person, and certainly of his office, for which I have a great deal of respect. But the invitation would have to come from him.
Bishop,
as part of he was in your church. You're running the show there. You think if you would have asked to speak to him or say, Mr. President, could I just have a minute of your time after the service or before the service? You're the leader of the National Cathedral. You don't think that it would have been granted? And if it wasn't granted, I would say that, you know what? It should have been granted to you. But you gave up that moral high ground here. You've given that up.
Their crackdown on immigration, the Trump administration has already overturned policies to now allow ICE to go into what have been deemed legally sensitive areas, including...
Nothing's been deemed legally, Sonny Hostin. That's all nonsense. All of it. Federal law is federal law, and it could go anywhere. This is all made-up sanctuary crap. It needs to be overturned.
Churches, schools, hospitals to apprehend migrants.
So if somebody murders somebody, should we say, oh, no, they're in a church, we can't go get them. They broke the law. Wherever they are, we go get them.
As a woman of the cloth, how do you feel that the church, which has been a place of sanctuary since at least 511, and it actually predates Christianity to Roman and Greek times.
All right, that's Sonny Hostin taking a shot at Christianity.
That the church is no longer viewed that way by some.
Like I said, if somebody murdered somebody, they go hide in the church, do we just leave them there and say, oh, just as long as you stay in the church, we're not going to come get you? What?
Right. It's an interesting, it's heartbreaking on one level. Let me be clear that it was never encoded in law. Any of the police officers and officials could come into our churches if they felt they had just cause. Now, they would need a warrant. They would need all the legal requirements to enter.
Not true all the time. You don't need a warrant every time.
Enter into such spaces, private spaces, as they would be necessary elsewhere, because churches are public spaces. They could go into them always. But you are right. It has been a practice. It has been an unwritten policy that.
Well, we're going to stop adhering to that practice.
There are some places, and particularly churches, schools, and other places where all sorts of people gather to create a sense of safety and to allow people's basic human and spiritual needs to be met. We have a lot of churches in our particular denomination that are that meet the needs of immigrants and other vulnerable populations, and we need now to be especially mindful and to make sure that basic human rights are protected and people's needs can be met. And we will continue to do that work.
Thank you so much for showing people what empathy looks like. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the empathy. Like I said, go find the 300,000 missing children. Go find them. Go show some empathy to Laken Riley's family. Go show some empathy to Jocelyn Nungare's family. And there's countless others. Where's the empathy for them? And everybody says, oh, more Americans commit crimes. You're right, a lot of Americans commit crimes. We have enough of our own problems. We don't need the rest of the world's. We have enough lunatics here on our own. We don't need everybody else's. So tired of it. Tired of it. Well, as I said, that was the first time I watched that all the way through. And it didn't disappoint, did it? No, The View never disappoints. They never disappoint with their stupidity. They never disappoint with their one-sided, just slant on everything. Even Alyssa Farah Griffin, I thought she was better than she usually is there, but again, she didn't follow up on her, and it was very easy. It's T-ball. So tell me what you guys think in the comments. I really appreciate you watching. To all my new subscribers, welcome aboard. This journey's been great. To all my longtime subscribers, thank you very much. I really appreciate it more than you know. We'll see you next time right here at Opinions Vary.
Opinions vary.